Nostalgia, you say, right? Yeah, I get it, I understand. Nostalgia takes us all back to a place. I mean, whether it's toys, cartoons, games, fashion, culture, music, the 80s era, the best era, the 90s era. I mean, whatever takes you back to that place in time, right? I mean, nostalgia puts a smile on us all. It takes us back to that happy place. Welcome to Nothing Like Nostalgia. This is Milo Martin, and we're on episode 3. I know I took last week off, was creating a lot of content, getting prepared for this week. So this week we're actually talking about comics. Episode 1 we spoke about toys, kind of like the launch episode. Episode 2 we actually dove into a little bit about cards. Now I'm gonna dive into comics. Not too much, but just a little bit into comics. I don't know if you guys know that comics have actually been around for a little over 2 centuries now. Crazy, right? I mean, about 200 years worth of comics. I mean,
what?
How? When? Like, how did it get popular? Like, so let me answer this. I know it really started getting popular and took off after the Great Depression, kind of around the 30s. People were carrying like the little, like, you know, little pamphlet comics, especially with one of the first comics ever being launched, Superman, that gave hope to a lot of people during that era. So, I mean, where did it originate, right? I mean, they said it originated in Japan. I'm not sure. But it looks like the 2 world's largest market for comics today in 2021 is actually Japan and North America. So, Japan, as you know, they do more than comics. They do like manga as well, which is like kind of like your Japanese like style of comics. I actually have a few here in My Hero Academia. So, you know, in America we read them from right to left, from left to right. Actually, in Japan they read it from right to left, and it's backwards. So, Manga style is a little different than like the US traditional like comic style, just reading from left to right. They read from right to left in the manga. And like I said, I have some My Hero Academia ones right over here. So yeah, I mean, it's really popular. I mean, we have one of the biggest markets here in the United States, along with Japan. So, I mean, if that doesn't say a lot, comics are super popular. I mean, you still have comics all over, comic book shops that are still open, even here in the Tampa Bay area. I mean, I go to one like once every few weeks just to check out some comics that I'm interested in, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys in a few minutes here. But I just kind of want to go into like some of the most popular comics that have been sold in the most rarest comics. So let me jump into that. So let me just read off. This is from comicbasics.com. So basically, this is the 10 most expensive comic books in history. So they have it listed 1 through 10. 1 being, to me, 1 being the lowest amount. So I'm assuming this is number 10, but they have it listed as number 1, which is Marvel Comics. It's the first appearance of Namor the Submariner and the Human Torch. It was the first book that was published by what would become Marvel Comics. So it's a no-brainer just for exactly how much they were asking for this. This is a CGC graded 9.0. It's $350,000. And then at number 9, you have the Tales of Suspense, which is another excuse me, I can't even speak today. Another Marvel comic, which the Marvel Studios launched the first Iron Man movie back in 2018, and it was actually based on the book, on this comic book. So I have a picture of it up on the screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube. It's basically Iron Man. I don't know if you guys remember the movie when he got kidnapped and they took him to the mountains and he had to make this suit. Before Iron Man, he made that suit out of iron. So this is basically it. The 12, the Tales of Suspense, which had the 12-cent logo on it back in the days, which is crazy. Number 3, and that one actually sold. I do apologize. That one actually sold for $375,000, and it was rated a 9.6. At number 3, we have the All-Star Comics, which sold for $411,000, which is graded a 9.4 from CGC. So this is basically the very first appearance of Wonder Woman. Yeah, it looks like Linda Carter before her. So basically this was before Linda Carter. And this the generations of Wonder Woman. So I have the picture posted up here. It's issue number 8. It's All-Star Comics. And like I said, that one sold for $411,000. At number 7, we have Flash. The first issue, actually, which was graded at a CGC 9.0, and that one sold for $450,000. And then at number 6, we have X-Men, the very first issue, looks like. That one sold for $492,937. That one is almost graded at a perfect 10. It's a 9.8 CGC. And it's crazy because they say in the article the difference between the price from a 9.6 grade and a 9.8 is almost $250,000. So if I have a comic that's worth 9.6, especially this one, from it going from $492,000 to almost $240,000 just by off of 0.2 points from CGC grading. That's kind of crazy. So it's literally a $250,000 difference just for 0.2 points. Right. So at number 5, we finally have Superman. Let's see. Yep, we have the first of two on the list of Superman appearances. So that one is number 6. I'm sorry, number 5. That one comes at $507,500. And it's Superman number 1. And this sold, actually, that one sold in 2017 for that price. So it's the very first issue of Superman. It doesn't say the grade or anything on it. They actually don't even have a picture of it. So at number 4, which came at $527,625, was Batman number 1. And that's a CGC grade of 9.2. That one actually came in at number 4. So I have the issue posted on the YouTube video here. It's a spring issue. It's with Batman and Robin on the front cover. So this book, as probably you're aware, is actually the first appearance of the Joker and Catwoman. I guess in the comics she was formerly known as Cat. At number 3, we have a CGC graded 8.0 Detective Comics. That one sold for a whopping 1.75. Well, not 1.75. I'm sorry, $1,075,000. And that one is only graded, like I said, it was only an 8.0, which is, I mean, in some cases, to some collectors, which is pretty low. That same collection that boasts that Flash is number 1, it was actually graded higher at an 8.5. But this book, it looks like, unfortunately, this book hasn't been sold since 1994. So somebody has it in their possession. So again, this is worth $1,075,000. All right, and then at number 2, we have the Amazing Fantasy. It's actually Spider-Man. This one is actually graded at a 9.6 CGC. It's actually worth $1.1 million. And this is actually the record sell of a Silver Age book. You have the Golden Age era and the Silver Age era. So yeah, this one, it looks like it's part of the Silver Age era. And this is actually the first appearance of Spider-Man, and it's still worth $1.1 million, which is crazy. And at number 1, you have Superman, which he blows everyone out the water. This is actually graded 9.0 at a CGC grade, and that's actually worth $3.2 million. So it's the number 1 issue Action Comics, and I have the picture of it right here on the YouTube video. So this is actually considered the holy grail of all comic books. It's the very first appearance of Superman. Looks like this sold in 2014 as the best-selling book of all time, as a top-selling book of all time. It looks like there's another 9.0 copy in existence, and it sold for 2.16 million just 3 years earlier in 2011. So that's actually real wild. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan of alternative investments, and I mean, comics is just, like I said, another alternative investment here. So it's just kind of crazy. And I'm just gonna kind of go into just the rare comics. I'm gonna go into the top 10 rare comics because those are the most popular as far as money, as far as being sold. But I'm just gonna kind of go into, and you'll find some of these. I mean, most of these are on the list, but there's some of them that I didn't go over as well, that are on this list that are not on the most popular as far as being sold. These are the rarest. I guess those were the most popular. So the number one, well, yeah, it looks like the one of the rarest, which I'm not sure why, which fell on number 2 on the other list, but it looks like it's number 1 on this list. It looks like it was that Detective Comics, that Batman and Robin one. And then you have Marvel Comics number 1, which was the first appearance of another major superhero, which was Spider-Man. That's on the list. There's a lot of these on the list as well. The All-Star Comics, the one with Wonder Woman, the first appearance of Wonder Woman. Again, the Batman comics, the one that was on the list as well. I have this posted on the video as well. Another one is the Superman number 1. That's a very popular one. X-Men is on this list as well. Flash is on this list as well. Another Wonder Woman comic was on this as well. There's one that we didn't talk about that wasn't on the other list. It's called Pep Comics. It introduces another famous comic book character, which is a very popular one. His name is Archie. So it's a wartime kind of like comic book type of feel to it. Another one that made this list that didn't make the other list was actually the Incredible Hulk. It's another rare one. It's very difficult to find in good condition. It's actually the number 1 issue. Supposedly it's not rare, but it's just rare to find it in like great condition. And then you have the Iron Man, the very first Iron Man that's on this list as well. So those are just some of the rare ones. So I'm just gonna kind of go into the ones I have. So for the YouTube viewers, we're gonna just transition right into here. So here's issue 1 of the Young Avengers. This was actually sold on eBay, graded close to $500. I believe it was $491. So this is issue 1. Then I have issue 2. Oops, excuse me, that is not issue 2. I have issue 2 here. So basically I have all the way up to issue 12 of the Young Avengers. And it's crazy because I actually bought this. And here's your next villain in the next phase of Marvel's, King the Conqueror. Thank you, Loki, for bringing this guy.
At this time, I'm going to ask that you fasten your seatbelt.
So the crazy thing is, I actually found these comics at a local at a local thrift shop. As a matter of fact, I bought a whole box of comics for like $40, and
mission complete.
I kind of hit the lotto with this, because like I said, it had all the Young Avengers. I mean, all the comics in there were in pristine condition, like perfect. Most of these, it looks like the person who owned this actually never even read the comics or even took them out of the plastic, to say the least. Like I said, I have issues 1 through 12 for the Young Avengers, and then that also came with some Fantastic Four series as well that I have. These are just some older ones. Let's put these aside. So let me show you the one that's actually signed.
Yes.
So this is a Wildcats Trilogy one, as you see the signatures right here. He only signed 10,000 of these comics. This one, I got the 4,232nd signed issue of this one. And this is actually signed, as you can see, by the artist Jay Lee. And here's the certificate of authenticity right here. This was also in that bin that I bought for $40.
Mission complete.
which is crazy. So I have quite a few of the Wildcats. I don't want to go through all of them. And then here's some of the comics that I'm reading and collecting today. As you know, I'm a huge Turtle fan, so this is The Last Ronin. This is issue 2. Unfortunately, I couldn't find issue 1 when it first came out.
Uh-oh.
So that's The Last Ronin, issue 2. Here's issue 3. This is by IDW, by the way, which to me they have some of the greatest storylines. IDW. And then here's some more Turtles. Issue 115. I got both variants. So that's cover B and cover A. As you know, some comics come with different alternate covers. Issue 116. And this one was the special Pride Month edition. And then never forget, they do free comic book day quite often. Just gotta find out if you're in that in that life. You gotta find out when. They usually do it like once a month, from what I noticed.
What?
Or once every few months. So this was a free one, right here. Vampirella. I got 2 issues of those. This was another one. They'll say free on it. It'll say free comic day, or it'll say free on it. So this one, as you see, is free. The White Knight, Batman. I usually just grab two of them when I see them. See, free comic book day. This is another X-Men. They actually this is very recent. As you can see, the toy behind me, this is actually from, if you see the Tri-Sentinel right here,
Scanning.
that's actually from this comic book series, the Tri-Sentinel that I have sitting in the background. And then another one, you see free comic book day, Spider-Man edition. Power Rangers. So yeah, just always checking with your local comic shop, because they usually do that quite often, free comic book day. And this is just a book of like all the comics that are actually coming out this year and the upcoming year. So, and then the very popular The Boys.
Warning.
And then I have this variant cover, the Immortal Hulk. And then if you guys haven't, you guys need to read this. The Soul of the Dragon, Tommy Oliver, which is Jason David Frank. Shout out to Jason David Frank, because he's actually coming out with the White Dragon, which it was a Kickstarter, got funded. They just recently shot the film. I actually supported that Kickstarter, so I'm actually super excited to watch the movie. So we'll be getting that next year. So this is actually kind of sort of related, I guess, in a way. And then I have all these other Power Ranger ones. This is from Boom Studios by Kyle Higgins, issue 1. I have issue 2. Trying to look for all the issues here. But with so much time creating content and just putting out so much stuff, I don't have enough time to go to all the comic book shops. I bought, all of these came from the same comic book shop, besides the first ones I showed you that came from the thrift shop that I bought for $40. That came with like roughly like 80 comics. So that's just some of my collection here. So yeah, again, like I spoke about alternative investments. I mean, this is just another alternative investment in toys, comics, cards. Comics again is another alternative investment. So yeah, I mean, tell me what you guys think about comics. Like, what are some of the comics you have, or some of the comics that you're looking for? I mean, I know there's a lot of Grail comics. I actually know a toy store here that a gentleman that I know, he actually has the very first edition of the Avengers comics graded, which is crazy. So yeah, I mean, tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys want to see next, or just tell me what you thought about this. So thank you for tuning in to Nothing Like Nostalgia. This is Milo Martin, and I'm gonna see you next time.